Howdy, I'm Drew Brophy. Here in San Clemente at my art gallery, and I'm a professional artist.
When did you become interested in art?
Oh, wow. It's the only thing I was ever good at. So I guess as a little boy, I used to crayon on the walls of my room. So yeah, it's all I've ever done.
How important is art to the youth?
I think it's extremely important. You know, when I think about it as a kid, you know, it's what dreams are made of. It's also like exploration and meditation. You know, there's no wrong way to do art. For myself, you know, I just get lost in these ideas, these free-flowing ideas. It's kind of the difference between like playing a song and just playing music. You know, like say you're playing the guitar and you just play for hours and you play all kinds of stuff. And then every once in a while you get something really cool that you turn into a song.
Who inspires you creatively? Doesn't have to be an artist, of course.
Yeah, you know, I'm inspired by everything, really. The biggest inspiration for me is nature. The waves, the sunset, animals. But I guess when you really put it down, it's beauty. You know, so beauty's in everything. People, women. Women are really beautiful. But you could see it in good design. So you can see it in a car. Or like how beautiful is a surfboard? Like the lines of a surfboard are like so cool looking. You know, it's mimicking nature. So I find beauty in everything, really.
How did the work with Sublime come about?
Oh, wow. You know, you never know what's going to happen around here. You know, one day you're not sure what you're going to do next, and then all of a sudden somebody calls, and, you know, Sublime called us. They called us a couple of different times to do some concert posters. And, you know, you think everybody has their everything together, but everybody's doing things last minute. And so a lot of times I couldn't do it in time. And they called us with this new album. And I built a reputation for getting things done and got a reputation for, you know, doing it well. And so they needed something done well and done fast. And so they came to me. And I had to do that album cover in less than 10 days. And
That's nothing.
And
That's
yeah,
quick.
And the whole tour was getting ready to launch. And I said, I can get it done, but, you know, it's going to cost you. And I did it. And it was fantastic. You know, like maybe 2 weeks later, I was at their first opening concert. And that painting I did for them was like a 60-foot backdrop. And the paint was barely dry on the original painting. And they had already made stickers and the albums and everything. And it was a good collaboration, you know, because, you know, everything was hanging on that art. And, you know, they make a lot of money off the merchandising, maybe more than the actual concert. So I think that was a big win for them and a big win for me. And
Totally.
It was a pleasure doing business with them.
You kind of already covered this, but I had it here. How the ocean plays a role in your art and your mental health.
Yeah, you know, it's funny as surfers, you know, we take it for granted like how awesome surfing is. A non-surfer has no idea how amazing it is. And just the fact that the human body can ride waves, you know, as athletes or as, you know, physical beings, you know, we can have to match the speed and jump up and get in there and then ride the wave. I mean, it's like riding free energy or something, and it's moving. And, you know, of course, myself and so many others, they like to get tubed, and getting a barrel is like one of the best things ever. Time starts to slow down, and you're essentially riding energy. And I paint waves, and because I dream about waves. It's definitely the coolest thing I've ever done.
Now let's get into your tube traveler art, and what's the story behind that one right there that you got next to you?
Man, well, let's have a look at it. There's a tube traveler. Well, this and the whole Surfer's Journey group of paintings, which this is one of them. They were all inspired from a very profound near-death experience I had. Many people probably know or don't know, I don't know. I was told I was going to die, and asked to say goodbye to my family through a window. And they put me in an induced coma, and the doctor told me, well, that was going to be it. So I don't know too many people that have had that experience to live to tell about it. It was pretty rough, to say the least. But, to all the people out there, there's nothing to fear. It's seamless. It's very peaceful, and it's like being set free from your body. You're not your body. You're the energy that flows through it. Instantly you feel relieved. You're like, oh my gosh, it feels so good to be out of that thing. And it's like taking a deep breath. It was like you felt like you were everything and everyone. It's hard to explain. It's almost no words. It instantly becomes baffling. You can't imagine how you ever forgot who you really were. How big, how powerful, how beautiful. And it just keeps going. It's like you're gaining or remembering at such a rate that it just becomes too enormous to contain. And that's what it felt like I was instantly set free. You don't really see anything. It's like all light, energy. It was more like a feeling. It felt like billions of children tickling me or hugging me, welcoming me back, excited to see me. It was beautiful. It was just so amazing. It felt like forever. It felt like I was there forever. And then I was told I had to come back. And I said, go back where? What do you mean? I'd forgotten about this place. Yeah. They sent me back.
What medically led to that point?
So I had caught COVID, and I tried to get better at home, and I wasn't getting better, so I got sent to the hospital, and I thought I was going to get treated at the hospital. What people don't know is once you were put in the hospital, you were like a prisoner. And, I had to be careful to say I'm very grateful to the doctors and the nurses who ultimately saved me. And I'm very grateful. But I'm also grateful they managed not to kill me. And I do think their hands were tied on certain things that they could do or not do. And, I was just lucky that I had taken care of myself and my body, and I was strong enough to endure all the things that were done to me. I ended up starting to get better in the hospital, and I thought I was going to go home. I had my phone, I was texting people, I felt better, I think I'm coming home soon, it's over. I felt happy that I'd beat it. And what I didn't know is my lungs were so fragile that the doctor said they were like wet paper. but I didn't know. And so I sat up in my bed and I started breathing really deep because it felt good to breathe after being sick for so long. And I took a bunch of big, deep breaths, like meditating. And there again, I thought I was going to be released probably the next day. And all of a sudden, everybody ran in. And turns out with each breath, I was tearing holes in my lungs. So I beat COVID only to tear holes in my lungs and have my lungs start to collapse. And the lung tissue was so fragile, it was stuck together. They couldn't get it to reinflate. And I feel like, I was the right person to go through what I went through because I was prepared. I had taken care of my body and my mind. And if anybody was going to endure and survive this ordeal, it was going to be me. And I did. So now I feel like I'm a witness for all those people that didn't make it. I know what it's like. I lived it. And I'm going to talk about it more.
How full circle was it for you getting back on a wave after that whole experience?
Wow, at one point I thought I'd never surf again, which was devastating. I was told that I would maybe never walk again because I was paralyzed completely. I actually had a friend of mine who is in a wheelchair come visit me. And I'm like, Josh, how did you do it, man? What am I going to do? And he told me how hard it was. I was prepared for that, but I fought through it, and things went my way. Then they told me I would never get off oxygen. So I'm like, I can't surf if I'm on oxygen. I'm like, how am I going to do that? My body was so atrophied I couldn't raise my arms. I'm like, man, I kind of reserved myself to, maybe I'll just bodyboard. Maybe I'm not going to be able to get in the water at all. So I just kept pushing. I was lucky I had a physical therapist that believed in me. And her goal was to get me in the water and get me off oxygen, which the doctor said was not going to happen. But we did it. We never gave up. We just walked up and down the San Clemente Hills. And she would turn off my oxygen while I was walking. It was awful. I'd be like thinking I was going to pass out. And sometimes she wouldn't even tell me. And then it slowly got better. And the next thing you know, we were able to get in the water. And honestly, I started bodyboarding first, trying to bodyboard. I was terrible at it. And as you know, down at the pier, you have to do it on the south side of the pier. And the tourists were all over there, and the lifeguard kept kicking me out, not knowing who I was. And I know all the lifeguards, and it was pretty embarrassing because I looked like I was an 80-year-old man. And I had to wear my life jacket because I couldn't swim. Imagine how humbling that is. And my feet were numb and all this stuff. And so they kept kicking me out, so I finally was like, well, screw this. I'm going to get a foam board just so I can go on the north side where all my friends were and be out. And that was embarrassing because I had to ask my friends to help me get out because there again, I couldn't paddle really that well. And I had my physical therapist trying to help me stand up on the board out in my backyard. And I couldn't get off the ground. I just didn't have enough strength. And I was like, God, this is futile. I'm never going to be able to stand up. And so I was just planning on bellying him if I could. And so we went out. It was a little tiny day. Waves were like this big. It's on video. And it was so beautiful. The water was so clear that first day. And I was just really, honestly, I thought I was just getting in the water just so I could be with friends. I was feeling pretty down on myself. And I'm coming from a guy that rode giant waves. To be reduced to this was just so humiliating. But I put on the life jacket, I showed everybody my bare bones, and I was on the foam board. They all welcomed me, which was awesome. I actually cried out in the water when I got there. I was just like, oh man, thank God I'm out here. And a little wave came. And I was just like, oh, I'm going to belly it in. And I turned and I could flutter my arms. And I caught it. Pretty easily, actually. And I just jumped up. I tried it 100 times in my backyard. I couldn't get up. I have no idea how I popped up, muscle memory or something. I was up in my stance. I rode the wave all the way down to the drain pipe. But then I didn't have the coordination to get off the wave. So I had to fall like a tree. I just kind of like fell over once the energy was done. And I was gassed. I could hardly breathe. I got myself together and I fluttered myself back out. I caught 3 waves that day. That's when I knew I was going to be all right. Well, I get a lot of questions on whether the experience, changed the way I think about art. It's going to make it deeper in concepts and deeper in connected to people. I have an immense amount of compassion for people now.
Are there any upcoming projects or anything that you are excited for in the future that you're working on?
Well, I think the biggest thing I'm going to work on is not even art related. It's really speaking on the will to live. In being an artist, I really never set out to be a famous artist. I set out to be happy. That was most important to me. Doing the things that I wanted to do and being able to contribute to society with the talents that I had. And my talents were art and surfing. That's what I had. Hard work. And then never being scared to try to do the hard stuff, whether that means surf big waves, Puerto Escondido or Pipeline or, wherever. Not afraid to work hard to pay for those things. If this is, going out to the youth, do you have the will to live? To show up, take care of this body, and make it do the maximum that it can do, physically and mentally? And do you have the capacity to connect with people that's going to help you get there? It's a two-way street. You got to help them get to where they're going. They'll help you get to where you're going. This is not a competition. It's a cooperation. With my art, I try to create scenarios and paintings that inspire people, or at least make them feel good. Maybe make them laugh. I don't know. But it's a contribution. It's a gift. So everything that you do is like almost a gift to the others. So, with that, I want to talk about what it took for me to come back from zero. It wasn't easy. Nobody can do it for you. That's the same thing with your life. Nobody can do it for you. You have to do it. You have to suck it up. It's nobody else's fault. It's only your fault. You either did it or you didn't do it. And the quicker you learn that, the better off you're going to be, the further you're going to go, the happier your life's going to be. Everything you ever wanted is right here in front of you. Are you willing to do what it takes to have it? Are you willing to do it fairly and lovingly, not screwing anybody over, but doing it in cooperation with others, including others? This is the way. It's like being on a team, right? I never played any team sports, but I get it, It's a team effort, and everybody's doing the best they can, and you're only as good as your other teammate, So you're trying to help him, he's trying to help you. You're all trying to get to where you're going. That's the way society should work. Team effort. And you're not really helping anybody if you're not taking care of yourself, mentally or physically. So I think that's what the future holds for me. Talking like that, reminding people, and doing art that maybe reminds people of those things. The beauty in life. It's all beauty from that point. Like, it's another thing for kids to know, like, I'm 53 years old. I've been doing art my whole life. It looks pretty good now, but, when I was a teenager, my art sucked. I mean, I had a knack for doing things, but I had no training, but I was like, oh, well, this is all I've got. How, it's like, everybody's dealt a set of cards. And I had this, like, one card to play. And I'm like, okay, well, this is the one I got. This is the thing I'm best at. And I'm not even that good at it. You don't start out doing amazing things right off the bat. I mean, maybe some people do, but I didn't. I just slowly chipped away at it my whole life. And the surf community is the one that saved me. I was a production surfboard painter. It kept me surfing, and it kept me doing art, and then my art just got better and better. As people read this, it's important for that to know. Everybody that I know that has done something extraordinary has done this long process of sticking to something and trying to do it the best they can. Very authentic, live it, love it type of thing. And all of a sudden you wake up one day and you've gotten somewhere. And it seems like it was like a fun but difficult road. It really wasn't that hard. It was just really, there again, striving to be happy and using the things that I was good at. I think everybody should do that. Marry the thing that you're good at with the things that you love. Like for me, I love surfing. I was halfway decent at art. And do it authentically in the service to your community and your family. I raised a family here in San Clemente off painting surfboards. When I was in high school, my high school guidance counselor said, Drew, we're worried about you. You can't surf and do art forever. That's exactly what I've done. So sometimes, whether it's a teacher or a doctor tells you can't do something, you don't have to believe them. You don't have to give up just because they said you have to. So maybe that's why I survived all that stuff. Maybe I'm hard-headed, I don't know. But I never gave up. And neither should you.